Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kickoff for the Art Hackathon. I'm Adam. You may have seen me on Replit as Tech Panda Pro. And today, for those of you who don't know the Art Hackathon, well, actually, I'll get to that in a second, but yeah, this is the kickoff for the Art Hackathon. And by the way, for those of you tuning in, for those of you who are tuning in live, feel free to just drop in the chat, maybe like where you're tuning in from, and maybe your favorite programming language, because I'm kind of curious to see what versatility we have. But while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start just by telling you about the hackathon. So what is the Art Hackathon? And all of this info can be found on the website as well. But if you would rather see someone talking about it, then this is perfect for you. But the link is on the chat for the website. So basically, what the Art Hackathon is it's an opportunity for you to make a creative coding project and win prizes for it. Now, you might not know what creative coding is. Basically, creative coding is when you combine art with programming. So, but even if you're not an artist, you can still participate in this hackathon. To be honest, I'm not much of an artist, but I still thought this would be a really fun hackathon. Sorry about that. But yeah, so even if you're not an artist, you can still participate. And something I want to make clear is the sky's the limit. You can use whatever language, which I see we have some HTML, CSS, and Python. You can use whatever language you want for this. Your goal is to just make something artistic that is made with programming. So you can use any languages, any libraries. It can be dynamic artwork. It can just be any piece of artwork with programming. And by the way, if you have any questions, this live stream is a perfect chance for you to ask them, and I'll try to answer them. And if not, I'll get back to you. So just a little timeline. Again, all this info is on the website, but the jam starts, or the hackathon starts today, December 26th. And we have two things happening today. The submission's open, so we actually already have a couple entries, which is super nice. And also the opening live stream. You may or may not have known about the opening live stream. That's what you're watching right now. And on December 30th, we have the submissions closing. So be sure to get those in by 11:59 Pacific time. And then lastly, on December 31st, we'll have a closing live stream where we'll announce the winners. But I know you're wondering probably what the prizes are. So I'll get to that in just a moment. So, okay, so the prizes. We have in first place, we will be giving away a Replit t-shirt and 3 months of Hacker Plan. In second place, we'll also be giving away a Replit t-shirt and 2 months of Hacker Plan. And lastly, in third place, you can win 2 months of Hacker Plan. And you might be wondering how the judging works. I do not have a slide for this. Shame on me for that. But basically, the judging, there's two judges. There's me and then Nathan. So we're both Replit reps, and we're going to be judging this. Nathan knows a lot more about creative coding than I do. So I will judge the projects more just for creativity. He will be a very good judge to, yes, shame on me. I forgot. But yeah, so it'll be judged by me and Nathan. And yeah, shout out to him for helping me out with this. He's been a huge help. Something that I want to talk about a little more than what's on the site is inspiration. Because if you're like me, you might not be very artistic, or maybe you are very artistic. I don't know. I personally am not very artistic, but there's a lot of inspiration out there that will hopefully give you some ideas of what you can maybe build. So I just want to showcase some of those right now. And some of these are actually what inspired me to even make this hackathon, because I just really liked some of these. And you'll notice that some of these are simpler, some are more complex, kind of like a more 3D approach. But all of these are all art, and you can submit anything like similar to these. Actually, no, don't submit something similar to these, but you can use these for inspiration. And something you'll notice actually about all of these is let me pull up let me just pull up there we go, that'll work. Something you'll notice about all of these is that they're all like interactive, or I'm sorry, not interactive. They're all generative. So every time you run it, you get something else. So for example, we have this one here made by Split. Every time you run it, you get a new piece of artwork, which I think is super cool. And that's an idea you may, because all of these have that, which I'll show in a second. So maybe that's something you can try to do in yours. You cannot just submit an image. Just to be clear, please do not like draw art on paper and then just scan it or something. It should be made with programming. And a great way to show that off is to make it generate a new one every time you run it. And I'll put the link for all of these in the chat. This one I was really impressed with. And I thought it was just really good inspiration. Let me... Sorry, I don't have these pulled up ahead of time, so I'm, yet again, shame on me. But this is another one that I thought was really cool and a great use for inspiration. Something that I probably could not even make, but it's made with P5.js, which we'll talk about in a moment. And you'll see when you run it, you just kind of get something like this. And yes, Ethan, shame on me again. But every time you run it, you get a new, I don't even know what to call this, but it's just, yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's just really good, I thought, for inspiration. Has kind of a 3D effect. Again, all of these are just for inspiration. So if you're like me and you're not at all good at art, then these might be helpful for you. And you can also look at how they're done. I think a lot of these use P5.js. And then I also have a bunch from Nathan, who again will be judging this. And Nathan has made a lot of things like this where they like draw as you run it. And again, each time you run it, you get a new one. Nathan actually made a resource to help with learning creative coding, which I'll share with you guys in a second. But again, there's this one. And then there's also another one that I thought was worth sharing with you guys is this one where every time you run it, it's like it's supposed to be, well, it's in the name, cherry blossoms. And every time you run it, you get a new one of these. And so that may be something worth taking a look at. Again, you can use any language you want. You can use P5.js, Turtle maybe, Python Turtle. I've already seen some submissions in Python Turtle. those are pretty cool. And yes, there is a website for the event. If you'd rather read about it yourself, then by all means, go and read about it there. If you want to see me ramble on about it, then you can stick around here. And the last one, and here actually but each time you run it, you get a new one. And the last one I want to show, hopefully you guys find this interesting and inspirational. Hopefully I'm not just boring you guys, but this is the last one I want to show. Is each time you run it, like, you'll notice that the same pattern kind of stays the same, but then there's little details that change about it. And I thought that was interesting. The electric sheep project. I have not heard about that, but yeah, I honestly have not heard about it. Nathan probably has, but I personally have not. And by the way, just something that came to mind, you guys can use AI to help with your artwork if you want, but you can't just submit an image. But if you want to use some sort of generative AI, you can. It just has to have some sort of like app or interface attached to it. So yeah, so you can use AI generated art. Okay, so hopefully those give you kind of some inspiration for this. Feel free to reach out to me on Discord or something like that. And if you want to if you're interested in looking at more projects, or if you have any other questions related to these, for those of you who aren't watching live, if you're watching live, you can just ask in the chat. But and then how do you submit your project? To submit your project, you have to do only two things. You publish it to the community with the tag hashtag Art Hackathon, and then you also need to submit your REPL on that form, which I'll put the link in the chat for yet again. And yeah, so those are the only two steps that you have to do to submit your REPL. I do have to emphasize it has to be runnable in a REPL, so make sure you have it on Replit and can submit a link that looks something. Your link should look, well, yeah, never mind. I'll show you that in just a moment. But that's how you submit. And I'll just show you real quick. So all you have to do is click submit, and then you'll have a REPL auth pop up. And then you'll need to give your REPL link, your email, and then you can also add additional comments if there's anything you want the judges to know about your project. Now, this slide is something that's not on the website, so hopefully this will be helpful to you. There are a lot of resources on Replit for making art, and so I just wanted to share a couple of those with you. The first and one that I really liked, and I think you will find very helpful, is a workshop that was done by Nathan called Introduction to Art for Programmers. And he did this a few months ago for Replit Creates. for those of you who participated in that. But if you never watched this, I highly recommend that you do, because it's a great, it was a great workshop on building art with programming. And I'll put the link to that in the chat. I think it was about an hour. So if you have just an hour to spare, and you need some help building your project, that's a great resource. Another resource, another resource. Oh, well, yeah, and in this workshop, they used P5.js. Yes, Nathan is a Replit rep. He, again, is also helping judge this, but yes, he also is a Replit rep. We both are. And then another resource I wanted to share is a course that was recently published, I can't speak today, a course that was recently published on Replit by Mindjoy, and I believe it's called Code Art. And they teach Python Turtle and how you can make art with Python Turtle. So that might be interesting to you. Great question. Can you submit multiple REPLs? No. You can. I had this question come up the other day. You can only submit one REPL. So I recommend that you look at all of your artwork, or all of your creative coding artwork, and try to find your favorite, because I really want to encourage refining your art and trying to get it like just right. So yeah, you can only submit one. So I recommend trying to just find your favorite one out of yours. Oh, and also you can work in a team. There's a couple people working. Yeah, Ethan, you read my mind. Yes, you can work in a team. You can only win one prize though. So if you get, let's say, first place and you get a Replit t-shirt and 3 months of Hacker Plan, you will have to work with your teammate to split that up however you want, because you can only win one prize per submission. Can a single REPL produce multiple images? I would say yes. Again, the sky is really the limit here. And something that I mentioned on the website is, if you think it's artwork, we will probably agree. So if you can find a creative way to have multiple images or animation, then yes, that's perfectly legal. If you think it's artistic, it probably, well, yeah, it's not, it's not, yeah, it is allowed, because it can still be artistic even if it's an animation. And actually, again, this one, even, I don't know if this is what you mean by animation, but even this one keeps going, and then I showed this one that just keeps going. So I don't know if that's what you mean, but yes, that is perfectly, you can basically submit anything. But again, if you think it's artwork, we'll probably will agree. Just don't submit something completely random. But otherwise, we'll probably be good to go. And another resource is just the Replit community, because there's actually quite a bit of cool stuff under the hashtag creative coding. So you can not submit. So you can look at that tag in the community section, and there's lots of cool projects that are published there that you can use for inspiration. And also, this is a pretty obvious one, but documentation. You can look at the P5.js documentation You can look at the Python turtle documentation, whatever you're using. I think both of these give examples of art, I'm pretty sure. So that's a more obvious one, but you still may find a lot of use out of it. And yes, there is a link to submit your projects. The submissions opened this morning. You can submit your projects at that link on the screen and in the chat. And yeah, again, I really recommend this first one, though, this first workshop. I genuinely think this will be very helpful if you're looking for an introduction. I watched it twice that I liked it so much. But yes, so those are, oh, I see the pun. When I say the sky is the limit, I mean, you can pretty much make anything if you think it is artistic, well, and that it follows the guidelines. You can pretty much submit anything that you want, because it's hard to define what is artistic and what's not. I can't tell you that a certain thing is artistic and a certain thing isn't. So just try to, express yourself artistically. And if you think it's artistic, the judges, so me and Nathan, will probably agree that it's artistic. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, you can use any language, you can use any framework or any library. Is this purely visual, or can there be an audio component? Yet again, I will say anything. If you think audio can be artistic, I see no reason. Yeah, I think that would be fine. I haven't talked to Nathan about that, but I see no reason why that wouldn't be. And also, if you have any questions, just to clarify, you can always reach out to me on Discord, and I can also confirm these things there. But where can you access these resources? Great question. I put the links in the chat. I'll put them in again for you. So there's the one for the Introduction to Art for Programmers, and then there's MindJoy Code Art. And there's the link for the community with the tag creative coding. These two you can just look up if you just look up P5JS documentation. Yeah, and that's why I say again, it's really hard to define what is artistic and what's not. So because of that, that's why we're leaving this very open-ended, where you can submit anything that you find artistic. And yeah, there's oh, I see another question. Would it be okay for me to do something like converting every frame of a music video into ASCII art? Yes, that would be okay. It's because Nathan is not here, I cannot say how he would judge a lot of these. But personally, I think if you add like a creative twist to that, I would really like it. If you just do ASCII art that, a million people have already made, well, a lot of people have already made things that convert video into ASCII. So maybe if you can find a way to add maybe a creative twist, that might be nice. But yes, to answer your question, you can definitely submit that. The links to the resources. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put these in the description of the video. Actually, no, I'm going to... And if you have any other questions, by the way, drop them in the chat. I'm just kind of using this time to answer questions. I'm going to put the link to the slides in the description in just a moment. Actually, or should I? Sorry, bear with me. I'll check the chat in just a second. That might not work. Okay, I apologize. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to put these links on the website. So check back on the website in about an hour, and I'll have all of these links added. So just check that, and like shortly after I end the stream, and I'll have these links up there. And I'll stick around for a moment in case there's any other questions. Again, though, for those of you who aren't watching live, you can reach out to me on Discord, which you can find. I'll put my tag on screen. Feel free to reach out to me on Discord right there. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Can we make a program that generates MP4 files? You guys are just full of creative ideas today. Yes, that would be fine. Again, since Nathan isn't here, I can't say how he would judge on this because, again, we two are the only judges. But personally, I think this could be very well done. Can a month or two of Ghostwriter be part of a prize? The prizes are already decided, but I will definitely take that feedback for future events. I don't think there will be any events in January because the cohort ends, but for cohort 2, maybe that's something that can be worked with. Yeah, so maybe in the future, but not for this one. The prizes are already final. But thanks for the feedback, though. I really do appreciate it. And again, I'm just kind of sticking around. I think this is, yeah. So I'll just stick around for another second. Can we make a program that uses YouTube APIs to upload animated art? Yes. You could also just use an MP4 probably. Yeah, I will definitely relay that feedback to the rest of the reps and see what we can do for that. I think there are actually, if you're looking, sorry, I'm trying to remember here. There's another event going on right now. I don't remember what the prizes were. there may have been some cycles. Upgrade required. You can go onto replit.com/community-hub, and you can see all of the events that are upcoming. So that the calculator-thon. Well, here you have it. If you want to have Ghost Rider, it looks like the calculator-thon is giving away 1,000 cycles to first place, which is enough for a month of Ghost Rider. So there's an opportunity for you. But yeah, definitely you have a day left in this hackathon for those of you who are interested. So yeah, you have 25 hours left. All right, well, yeah, it is tricky. Yeah, I did. I looked at it. I guess if you have a lot of spare time, you can try. But yeah, I know it is really hard. But there's no harm in submitting something that... What's the website? I'll put that on screen again. That's the link for the hackathon, art-hackathon.techpandapro.repl.co. So the one right there will take you to the website for the event. All right. Well, if that's it, thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate all the comments in the chat and all the questions. If you do have any questions, you can reach out to me. I can also forward any to Nathan that you have. The link for all the events, sure. I love how I keep saying I'm going to end the stream and I just don't. But it's okay. I'm more than happy to stick around and answer questions. Replit.com/community-hub, and that has the list of all the events. We probably won't have many events in January from the reps because the second cohort does not begin until February. But you'll probably see a lot of hackathons happen in February. Hey, Nathan. Nathan, you're just in time to see me, to see this stream end. Nice to see you here. I've been answering a bunch of questions for the limitations of what you can submit. But anyways, if there aren't any more questions, then I'm gonna end the stream. But again, you can reach out on Discord. Well, it's 12:40 here. Anyways, okay, it doesn't look like there's any more questions, so thanks everyone again. I know I've said this about 5 times already, but thanks everyone for coming. If you do have any more questions, reach out to me on Discord or Replit if you don't have Discord. And I'll see you guys again, hopefully on the 31st to announce the winners. Bye.